Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar called A Day in the Life of a Competitive Intelligence Analyst. Today, we are going to talk with Ingmar I have here. But first, if you want to ask any questions, everyone's on mute. You can just write a question, open up this Q&A window with that button on your screens and type a question, and we'll take them, I think, towards the end of the webinar. I have lots of questions for Ingmar myself. My name is Simon Carlson, Sales Director here at Commentelli. Commentelli, we're a competitive and market intelligence software provider. And with me today, I have our good friend Ingmar Svensson from Sativa, who's going to talk about his life as an intelligence analyst.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me. Very fun to be here. Ingmar Svensson. I have been working with competitive intelligence for over 20 years, actually. Still, I look like I'm 22, right? So yeah, it's very nice. I've been working with Ericsson, 20 years in telecom and IT. And I worked with sales and strategy. And then since 2008, I worked full-time with competitive intelligence. Then I left Ericsson. I started my own consultancy boutique in competitive intelligence, called it Advantage. And then 2 years ago, I started with Sativa, a biopharma company. And I see myself as being a strategic, trusted advisor, a sounding board to people and managers, and also being the devil's advocate.
Okay. Ericsson and Sativa, so telecom and a pharma company.
Yes.
Quite different.
Yes.
How do you feel those differences? Have you, in your work as an analyst, how is that reflected on your work?
Yeah, I mean, there are, first of all, there are very many similarities between Ericsson and Sativa. Very large companies, multinationals, and very process-oriented. But then there are also differences, of course. They have, I would say that Sativa, biopharma, it's more academic in the sense that it is the true truth that is needed. It is a lot of data-driven analysis that we do at Sativa. And when I worked with Advantage, and I still have that company as a side business, then I worked with startups and helping them to go to the market. And that was also very different because I did have some CI processes in Advantage, but then the customers that I worked with, they were completely different. They were not as knowledgeable in the areas of sales and marketing and that. So it was very interesting to work in these three areas. Commonalities are win-loss analysis, scenario planning, and you know, the classical SWOT and the four corners that we do with Porter analysis. And the differences, I think, is that today I do more of molecule tracking. In the biopharma space, it's monoclonal antibodies and small molecules that are very important to track and monitor.
Okay. And 20 years is a long time as well. Has this changed over the years, the types of sort of deliverables that you would have, or?
Yeah, I think today maybe it's more. In the early days, it was a lot about finding an answer to a specific question, whereas today we play more with the data, and maybe I provide more input to dialogue. I sometimes feel that I generate more questions than answers.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the purpose, to drive the dialogue. So
okay.
Yeah. So I think I do maybe more wargaming today than before.
Wargaming. Okay. Is that the funnest one of these to do, or which one would you say is your favorite?
My favorite. I really like large workshops where we sit a bunch of people in a big room, have these yellow Post-it notes, and we have this dialogue going. And then which deliverable it is, it's less important. But I like when we have many people in the room. The best projects that I've been in on, we have had salespeople, engineers, HR staff, and because everybody provides insights, and the end result is always much better when you have different people in the room.
Yeah. I can even recognize that from what I do in our company.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for that, Ingmar. I think today we have a few topics that you want to show. I'll be switching slides here for you. And the first talking a bit more about what you're doing today in the biopharmaceutical market.
Yes, since I work for Cytiva, it's interesting because it's growing immensely, and I think biopharma is when you do medicine based on cells, and you grow and you purify liquids that you then shoot in the body, so vaccines or insulin. And this kind of business has changed a lot in just the last couple of years. It used to take 8-10 years and cost billions of dollars to make a vaccine. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, the mRNA technology that was used, it created a vaccine in less than a year, in 10 months. And actually the Chinese scientists, they managed to break down the virus genome, and then they shared it. And Moderna, the company, they actually created a candidate, a first clinical trial vaccine to inject in a living person in less than 90 days. And that was
That's
then
never happened before.
No, not that it.
Okay.
This COVID-19 was a very special time also, where governments and countries and companies decided to collaborate. So that in itself also was a big change from normal R&D, so to say.
Yeah.
But it's just, it changed how people look at vaccines and how to take a shot or a jab, as I understand we say it in my industry now, to take a jab. But the technology advancements have made this a growing industry. When I started way back in 2020, there were around 16,000 molecules, and now there's more than 25,000 molecules in one of these databases that I use. And so that is just amazing how many molecules that we see. A lot of joint venture capital being poured in. We see a lot of the contract manufacturing organizations that are expanding their capacity and production facilities. It is booming.
Wow, it must be growing fast then.
Yeah, it's growing, and I think also that's why I got hired basically by Cytiva, because there are many people who know bioprocess and biopharma outside in, but I see now people from other industries like myself.
Like yourself, yeah.
I'm an economist. I've been working with telecom and IT for 20 years, and I got hired to ask questions that are not obvious to maybe a biochemist engineer.
I think outside the box a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes when I think in meetings, I ask very silly questions, very basic, super stupid questions in a sense. I get feedback from people around me after meeting that really good question, that very nice. Like, so it comes to show that a lot of different backgrounds and people in one big room really moves a dialogue forward. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, to your previous point there. Okay, but then also the amount of information must also have grown quite a lot then, if there's so much activity going on in this short time span.
Yes. It's you have supporting industries, of course. You have indirect growth of, for instance, information providers, service information providers that want to, that they provide reports and subscriptions and different data sets that you need as an analyst. So there's more stuff to read, more stuff to analyze for sure.
Okay.
And this is based on my 2 years experience in this industry, I should say.
Right. So you started from when it already was booming, basically. You worked.
Yeah.
This has been the standard for you the whole time. You don't know much how it was before.
No.
Okay.
But it's a conservative industry. I know that,
Oh.
and it is changing rapidly. Yeah.
Interesting. You want to go to the next slide?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Right. So let's see if this works. Yeah. So a day in the life of an intelligence analyst. I mean, this is what you're here to talk about today. Tell us a bit more. What is a day in the life of an analyst? I'm not an analyst, so.
Yeah, I think that working with intelligence, it's a lot about the information sources that you have, but also the relationship with the stakeholders or the person or the group of person that you're providing insights to. And I think that a lot of it is the same. Like I put some quotes up here, the future is not what it used to be. Mm-hmm. Change is the only constant.
Yeah.
And I think that I think I read those in 2008 when I started with this at Ericsson.
Ah, okay.
Yes, so they have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
The alternative facts one, I think it came around 2016 when Donald Trump was president in the US.
Fake news and all this.
Yeah, but it's also just showing that you have as time evolves, people and organizations have a different relationship to truth and information, and you have to deal with that as an intelligence analyst as well. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of it is the same, but then the main challenges I think is also the same when it comes to finding information, producing insights, and then sharing them to get feedback. So I think those are the main challenges in 2008 and today.
And still today. Yeah. Okay. So today you're going to talk about 4 sort of main challenges.
Yeah.
That's what I understood it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hope.
What's the value of scenario planning? Okay. What is scenario planning, first of all?
Yeah. First of all, scenario planning, it's a method. The purpose is to create a plan on how to handle the future, to prepare for the future. Mm. And if the future changes, you should be able to adapt and overcome. And I put this as a main challenge because very often I feel that when you do a scenario plan, mm-hmm. it ends up in the desk drawer, like the US pandemic plan. Just a brief backstory.
Yeah, what is this?
It's in 2009 when you had the bird flu influenza. The then President Barack Obama, he decided we need a plan to handle these kind of large pandemics and influenzas. And authorities started to work on this, and they had different versions of these plans. And then the last one was presented to the Trump administration in I think it was mid 2019. Mm-hmm.
Just before the COVID outbreak.
Yeah, and then it happened. The COVID outbreak happened very late 2019, early 2020. Yeah. And I think to early 2020 was when the world understood that, okay, this is something we haven't seen before. And it ended up in the desk drawer. And I think that as a CI analyst, you need to sell the value of a scenario plan. And first of all, you need to get people in the room. I mean, it takes half a day, or maybe 2 days to do a scenario plan. And you need to get, vice presidents and directors and sales managers and people in, and they need to stop what they're doing to sit down and listen to you for a day. Or talk to each other for a day. So that is one thing that you need to sell the value here. And stakeholders, they don't see the value. So that's one thing. And I think to really, so okay, that's the problem statement. What's the value of scenario planning? I think it's you see the value when it's not a one-stop show. The value comes from having a live scenario plan, which means, I mean, when you do this
Something
plan,
you follow up on continuously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because first of all, when you manage to get the people into the room and you do the scenario planning exercise, very often when they leave, they say, this was interesting. Now we have a common view of what the issue is. So maybe I'm a sales guy and you are a production engineer. We have different views, but now we understand better how we think about this, whatever issue it might be. So that's the common view. So very often when you manage to sell in the scenario plan one time, it's easier to sell in the next time. And then the next value, I think it's you create indicators that you need to monitor. High urgency, high impact indicators that you need to track and monitor.
Yeah, continuously.
Yeah.
Because if you make a nice scenario plan, you have this nice exercise, people get to know each other better. Okay, I understand you, great. But then what? If you don't do something with it, then okay, you've had a nice time, but that's not much value.
Yeah, exactly.
On a personal level.
So I think if you do the full scenario planning, it's not about the exercise of the report, it's about how you deal with the report after. So you should appoint people to track and monitor these indicators of high impact and high urgency. Maybe link that to a monthly report. If you manage to do that, then I think you have really managed to sell the value of scenario planning. Okay,
so keep it monitored. Don't just put it in the drawer. Why do you think this one landed in the desk drawer? I mean, you didn't sit in the White House, obviously,
No, I don't know. I think it's about not understanding the. I'm not saying that the Trump administration is. I mean, I see this everywhere. And most of the scenario plans that I've been working on ended up in a desk drawer.
Yeah, I've heard this from many as well. We do these exercises, but then what? Okay. Interesting.
But don't do what I say. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. That's
right. That's a good quote. I think round that one off. Next topic: how do I improve data collection efficiency? So, okay, tell us what data first of all are you even talking about here? These molecules you're tracking, or?
No, but I think this is a main challenge a competitive intelligence analyst feel in whatever industry he or she is working in. Very often it's a new project. You need to understand so what information do I need, and you start looking for information in different areas. You start to Google, and then maybe you speak to people. In my early days, I tended to collect too much data or ask questions because I like to interview, but then I couldn't use the answers. Okay. So I think I wasn't very efficient in gathering information or data. So I think I asked her.
You would just collect lots. You would just research and collect as much data as you could.
Yeah, yes. And I think that's because you don't know the subject. And I think maybe the answer here, how do I improve data collection efficiency? If you turn it around and you start with the end result, I mean, with the end user, the stakeholder, where I mean, what kind
how does it affect them, or what's their interest in this?
Yeah. So one quote that I like is "Don't boil the ocean." So Barbara, what's her name? Barbara, The Pyramid Principles. That book that she wrote. She talked about don't boil the ocean. No, it's about it's not about the academic truth. You don't need to have, for instance, so what's the market share? You don't need to say that the market share is 33.9%. You can say, it's about a third, or it's less than half, or something like that.
Okay.
If that is good enough. Yeah. So don't boil the ocean. Use only the data you need. Look for the data that you need. Don't look for more data than you need. So I think that is one way to improve data collection efficiency. And I actually remember one project that I did with Ericsson. Actually, it was a competitor analysis, and we needed to understand this competitor of the different aspects, and we had a number of CI analysts actually in this project, and the project leader then created a straw man, like a flow chart with very specific questions. And then we were divided into small teams, or did it alone, but each team or person had one very specific question to answer, and that very specific question made it easier to look for the data needed to answer that specific question. So then the report, the insights became, in this case, a PowerPoint with, if we had 15 questions, we had 15 slides with one question and one response per. And this was also MISI, so it was not too much overlap. It was no overlap. So it was a very clean and straightforward deliverable where we used only the data needed to provide this insight.
Okay. Again, not too much data, just more clear focus on what you're looking for.
Yeah. So that was very an efficient data collection exercise. And also to improve data collection efficiency, I think we need to talk about taxonomy and reuse. So each CI organization should have a way to set up a library, basically, to a structure for how you name different deliverables or reports if you use specific naming nomenclature.
That everyone understands. A common language.
Okay. So it gets, so the information you have, both, it could be data, but it also could be final insights and reports, deliverables that are searchable, because then that would make it easier to shorten the startup time for any new project.
Because you probably have a lot of data already. And instead of inventing the wheel every time, you can reuse this.
Exactly.
If it's accessible.
So like this win-loss.
I was wondering, this quote, you haven't even talked about this quote here.
No, but it's how when I do a win-loss. If you have done a win-loss for, say, product A with customer 1, and then you need to do this thing for product B with customer 2, then of course you should use the templates, so you can look at the sources, and maybe it was a generic industry service provider that provided information. Go there, you don't have to look. So I think don't invent the wheel every time you're going to do something new.
Okay. Next topic. Is it possible to streamline production? I guess you're not talking about the production of vaccines here.
No.
Data.
This is exactly insights production, I think I'm talking about. And I think this is a challenge for CI analysts also. Very often, and this is from my world today, I often start in the CRM tool and see what it looks like there. Then I use a visualization tool to see graphs and stuff and try to understand how different data correlate to each other. Then I download to Excel and I do analysis and pivots and to do my own stuff there. And then, time for insights, preparation and presentation. Then I use PowerPoint very often. And then the action that I suggest and ask for from people is often then seen in the CRM tool, and this loop of using different tools and for data gathering, production, it's I wish I could do it more efficiently.
I mean, this is just the quantitative data you're talking about, and you're already there jumping between a lot of tools. Or not only, but
no, not only. I would say that in my, at Cytiva, it's very much data driven. So it's a lot of data.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot about Excel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. But also other tools. No, but
Yeah.
I think it's a challenge for CI analysts to put maybe 80% of your time on preparing the presentation in whatever format it is, and then 20% roughly on presentation and dialogue and getting feedback.
Yeah.
And I would like to turn it around to have you can automate a lot of the production, and then you can have you do that 20%, and then you can have 80% discussing the insights instead with the stakeholders or the one you're presenting to.
Do you usually just send out these PowerPoints, or do you actually have presentations?
I tend to do a lot of presentations. Yeah.
So there is some discussion around it, at least. You get some feedback on it.
Yeah.
And then what happens after?
Yeah, no, it depends on the deliverable, but I think to streamline the production, I think the digital tools that we have is helping. It should help much more.
You should have digital tools.
Yeah. And for instance, a PowerPoint or a Word document or something static like that, it's very good if you have a story to tell. So you go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then maybe 5 you have the action or the conclusion or something. Yeah. But if you're not telling a story, then maybe you need something else, like an interactive dashboard or something like that.
Something that stays up to date as well, because once the PowerPoint is done, if this isn't a topic you want to revisit, well, you're going to have to look in your archive of PowerPoints and files. The static, I guess.
And I think it's the
things can change from them.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you have a dashboard with information that is updated in real time, that can be the subject of discussion. So if you have a PowerPoint, for instance, I'm not saying that PowerPoint is worse or not good.
No, everyone uses it. It's still the most common way to present things today, I think.
Yeah. But I have actually I know one person one time did prepare something like 92 slides and had all bases covered and presented to a very senior VP
live
at this company. Yeah, it was a lot of people in the room, and the first question was, because the person wanted to tell a story, but the stakeholder in this
story.
Yeah, she was not going to present all of it. But, but the first question from one of these high executives, she didn't have it in one of the slides.
Okay.
So, but then one of her colleagues actually was sitting with an Excel in that occasion and managed to find information really quickly.
So saved by the bell.
Yeah,
someone that had the data then live. Okay.
Yeah. So I think to streamline the production, you need to think of the stakeholder and the setting where you're going to present whatever you produce.
Yeah.
So is it a story? Then do that. If it's an interactive discussion where you really don't know, then you need something else, like an interactive dashboard or some tool that handles a lot of information and can quickly sort and give you excerpts of those snippets of conclusions.
Yeah, both to stay up to date, but also to be accessible, because you might have presented for a group of people, but then if others are also interested in this presentation and they were not part of it they might not even know it exists, and they wouldn't know where to go to find it, probably because it's in people's inboxes or in some folder somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think a digitalized solution is very good to have in this.
So we're telling a story here, so we're using PowerPoint. It's fine.
Exactly.
Okay. 3 topics covered. Last one. That's what I'm interested in as well. How do I improve data insights dissemination?
Yeah.
Dissect this.
Yeah.
What are you talking about here? These are big words that often pop up in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, because as an analyst, you collect data, you prepare insights, and then you present it. Mm-hmm. And then how do you know that whatever you present is received? I mean, is welcomed and actually adds value to that person or those people's life, or whatever.
Work.
Yeah. So at work, yeah. But for instance, so here I took this picture because it's a young girl. She obviously liked what she's doing, and she's singing her hearts out. And I can feel that CI analysts are very interested. I'm a very curious person. I like to talk, as you might.
Yeah. So we have you here.
Yeah. But then maybe what she is singing is not very well received. We don't know that. She's a very cute girl, but we don't know that.
No.
And very often for CI analysts, it's the same thing. We don't know whatever we present if it's welcome. Very often I get feedback like, great presentation, thank you so much, great. But then it's like, is this information that is interesting and good to have, or can you actually?
Or are they just being nice?
Yeah, that could be also. But then we also often talk about actionable intelligence, intelligence that triggers action, and I feel it's very, very, very difficult to achieve, actually.
Yeah, kind of goes back to what you said about scenario planning as well.
Yeah,
right. It's not just intelligence that's actionable. You do something with it. As well. Huh? Okay.
So to flip it around and then give some kind of a answer to this, how do I improve data insights dissemination? I have 2 answers. Mm-hmm. One is to dare asking for feedback. That's the oldest trick. Did you like this? And then it's why did you like this? How can you use this? That is very good. And that is very important. I think that analysts could be better at actually asking for feedback.
I think that's true for everybody, though. It's kind of uncomfortable. It can be to ask, did I do a good job, or what do you think of this?
Yeah,
it might be. But especially maybe for in this field, if you're very interested in some topic, you've been deep diving into it, you think you found the answer to to all the problems, and then someone else might not be so interested in this.
Yeah. No, but I think asking for feedback can also help you to find new projects. Did you like this? Yes, I liked it, but I would like to see more of why did we lose this business in this country, or what about market share for this product or something like that. And then it's okay, I will fix that too. And then you have more work to do. Yeah. So that's what the other answer I have on this is to actually measure, was there a decision taken based on your insight production or presentation? And I have one example from when I worked with Advantage, helping startups. It was a small company, 2 people, 2 engineers in the transportation industry. They had created this, what should I say, for trains to do maintenance. So they put a camera on the wagon, and it was filming the wheelbase. And this very smart infrared camera somehow could detect when suggest when the train should be off the rails and in maintenance. Okay. So instead of rolling, and then you take it off, because it costs a lot of money to take the wagons off the rails. So then it's okay. So this product was very, very good. They have patent, and they asked me to help them to understand which country should they start launching their product in. So I did an analysis of the train industry across Eastern Europe, the Scandinavian countries, and also the Orient, so Kazakhstan and Georgia and all these countries. And it was very interesting to do this. And then what made me very happy in the end was that they decided on one particular country based on my report. So then I said, oh, okay, so this was really a good example of how the data, but the insights actually led to a decision.
That's very concrete feedback.
Yeah, very concrete. Yeah.
But is that uncommon to get otherwise when you work in a larger company like now or in the past?
I think that was the biggest impact I had on a company, that they actually decided which country to launch in.
Yeah.
Because that impacts how you know, where do you hire people, where do you set up the office, and you need a production facility maybe, or at least exportation, importation solution. And so that was the biggest. But then other decisions that have been taken based on my information could be mergers and acquisition, production investments, yes or no, product launches, yes or no. So, but I think that example was the biggest one.
yeah, but that's very a concrete example. Do you keep receipts of sort of for yourself, or keep tabs of all the decisions that have been taken based on your insights?
No. There's so many decisions taken. No.
And but that's again, if you get that feedback, then it's quite obvious, yeah. But if you can't get that, or if maybe it's a smaller decision that you still influenced with your work, are there other ways to get this type of feedback somehow? Maybe it's not so direct. You don't get someone saying, thank you, that was great.
No, but you can maybe either you can ask that question also, that you know, why was this good, or what decision did you take? Or depending on the situation, you could actually go and look at people who should be affected if a decision were taken based on that presentation. You can go and ask them if they see a difference a month later or something like that.
Yeah. What about the other way around? If there are suggestions you've come up with based on your work, and the decision that you recommend, or you recommend some actions to be taken, which was not taken, and that led to a worse outcome or a bad decision.
Yeah.
Has that happened? Or
yeah, then I wear.
Don't have to name any names.
Yeah, no, but when that happened, I wear my T-shirt as I told you so.
Oh yeah.
No, but that's also the part of being the devil's advocate. I see myself as someone fueling a decision, a discussion, and if a decision can be taken on that, then I'm happy. But it can also be that very often the person that I present to have other sets of information, other data, other knowledge, a higher level of knowledge maybe than I have, and that person that takes my input as it is, as input, and maybe it confirms what that person already knew or something. But then but then in that case, if that person comes back and asks you for your services again, that always
then you got the receipt there.
That's a check in the box, or a receipt that it was valuable what I did.
Okay. Interesting. And a summary. So you have some answers to all these questions we've been asking as well. Do you want to run through them, or?
Yeah, I mean,
just short summary of what we talked about.
Yeah, I mean,
I see completely different answers here on the slides.
They should be aligned. They should be aligned. Yeah. No, but I think value scenario planning. You have to sell the value. The one value is the group have a common view on whatever it is you're talking about, and you should make it a live deliverable and appoint someone to actually take responsibility for tracking the indicators. This high impact, high urgency. How to improve data collection efficiency. We talked about starting with the end user, what that person might want to, I mean, the end result should decide what kind of data you need. And then use, of course, models and templates, use taxonomy for searchability and reuse. If it's possible to streamline insights production. And then it's again about the end user. I mean, a PowerPoint has a value in itself, but then an interactive dashboard that you can update in real time has a different value, because you can use that not to tell a story, but maybe to answer different questions, depending on the setting. And then how do I improve insight step? There's this dissemination. Ask for feedback, measure if there was a decision taken, or measure if the person come back and ask you again for your services.
Yeah. Make something concrete out of all the abstract. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Ingmar.
Thank you.
I think this was all the slides we had. Great learning a bit about the work you do as an analyst.
Thank
I
you.
hope others listening in might either recognize themselves or have learned something new. I don't think we have any other questions. We asked so many already here. So I think unless someone comes up with something in the last few minutes, we'll wrap it up. But feel free to contact us, send any questions after. And thank you very much for listening in. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.